There was once a man who lived in the desert, and he had 3 children. This man was a camel trader, and as he got older, he wanted to make sure that his children were well looked after, so he made a will. And in his will, he left half of his camels to his first son. He left 1/3 of his camels to his second son, and finally, for the youngest child, he left 1/9 of his camels. Sadly, the time came when the man died, and outside in the paddock there were 17 camels. The will was very clear. Half went to the oldest, 1/3 to the middle child, and 1/9 to the youngest. So the 3 children went outside and they tried to work out who was going to get what. Half of the camels was 8.5. 1/3 of the 17 camels was 5 2/3, and 1/9 was a bit less than 2. So unless they got out some big knives, there was going to be a real problem dividing up the camels. The children didn't know what to do. So in despair, they turned to their neighbour, who was very wise, and they said, "What on earth can we do to divide up our camels?" The neighbour thought for a while, and then went next door and brought one of her camels round. And she said, "I'm going to lend you this camel, and we're going to use this to resolve the problem." Brilliant. With the extra camel, the children now had 18 camels. The oldest got half, which was 9. The middle child got 6, and the final child got 1/9, which was 2 camels. And there was 1 camel left over. The one that was on loan, that was handed back to the neighbour, so everybody was happy, and the wise neighbour went back to their house. It is a very ancient story, but it holds an important truth. There are times when we will all feel that we are dealing with a problem or a difficulty, and we can see no logical solution. The more we puzzle over it, the more impossible it seems. It's important, therefore, to realize that sometimes we need the help of other people to help us sort out our problems. Now, this is a pretty obvious thing to say, but sometimes the obvious is really important. We're all under a bit of stress just at the moment. Some of you are doing exams at the minute and assessments at home, and the results are really important. Others are having to cope with difficulties at home. Maybe members of your family aren't well and you don't quite know what the right thing to do to help might be. Or there are other things happening at home and you don't really understand, and you don't know how you can help your mum and dad. Well, if you have a problem and you don't know what to do, remember the children and the camels. Ask for help. Find the wise person who can give you good advice, and don't let the problem get out of hand. Now, whether that's someone at home or your granny on the phone, you could even phone me. My number's at the end of this podcast. But speak to someone and get the thing resolved. It worked for the camel people. It'll work for you. We'll say a prayer. Heavenly Father, we face all kinds of problems in life, and sometimes they feel more than we can possibly manage. When things are difficult, help us to find the right person to speak to get good advice, and to put the problem behind us. May God guide, guard, and bless you, and keep you safe and well. Amen. Now go and wash your hands.